Have you ever realized that your compact little smartphone can do more than your computer you grew up with as a child could do? You must wonder just how in the world did such a dramatic leap take place in such a short amount of time. I've been fascinated and intrigued by new technologies in computers since I was a child, and in the past few weeks I've done lots of extensive research on how mobile computing has emerged from to dominate the technology marketplace. Smartphones are becoming more and more important every day for the average consumer, so it's intriguing taking a look back at how mobile computing has emerged from devices with calculators to the full-fledged high-end computing machines we see today. Today, I'll start off by talking about some of the first cell phones and cell phone-like technologies, and then show how these all came together to bring about the smartphone. And then I'll close by talking about some of today's smartphone technologies. Before getting caught up with the new technologies that are constantly springing up, it's important to take a look back and see how it all began. Cell phones, like many other technologies of today, have had some very humble beginnings. The cell phone is a piece of technology that owes a lot to the technologies that came before it, like the radio, the telephone, the walkie-talkie, or even the car phone. The walkie-talkie, invented by Al Gross in 1938, as cited by the Massachusetts Institute of Technology webpage last updated February 11, 2014, was really the first device that resembled the cell phone functionally. It might come as a surprise to you, but the real predecessor to the cell phone was actually the car phone, which was first developed by the Swedish company Ericsson in 1956, according to the article Car Phone, last accessed February 11, 2014. The advent of the car phone eventually led to the first call made by a cell phone that was officially recorded to have taken place over 40 years ago in 1973 by a man named Martin Cooper. Martin Cooper was a lead engineer and also a former vice president of Motorola, which was officially the first company to have developed a cell phone called the Dynatac, according to CNET.com article last updated April 3, 2013. Motorola states in their website that last accessed February 20th that in the fall of 1983, the FCC approved the Dynatac 8000X phone, the world's first commercial cell phone. The Dynatac was a great technological breakthrough. However, its cumbersome size, among other things, made it very counterintuitive. But luckily, things only started looking up for the cell phone. It didn't take long to see consumer cell phones that started taking advantage of computing technology, which emerged around the same time in the 1980s. Appropriately, it was the computer giant IBM that built the first smartphone called the IBM Simon, reports Business Insider magazine in an article last updated May 6, 2011. The device was packed full of features with a PDA, calculator, notebook, and even had a touchscreen display. The device went on sale in 1993 and cost $899, somewhat similar to some of the new phones we see today. The same article goes on to mention the Nokia 7110 Geocentric and Sharp J phone, which are phones whose technologies have been integrated into smartphones of today. Released in 1999, the Nokia 7110 was the first smartphone able to access the internet. The first phone to feature a GPS was remarkably released in the same year, and it was called the Geocentric. It took a while for GPS technology to catch on in phones, though. The Sharp J phone, released in 2000, is acknowledged by many as the first camera phone. A few other phones at the time did have cameras, however, the J phone was the first one that could send and receive images. And with that, we looked at just a few technological marvels and innovations that all led up to the production of today's smartphone. The smartphone era we know so well today started off with two devices by today's standards, but those devices by today's standards still leave much to be desired. These devices were the first generation iPhone and the HTC Dream Slider, the first phone featuring Google's coveted Android operating system. The New York Times reports in the article, and then Steve said, "Let there be an iPhone," last updated October 4, 2013, that it states that Apple revolutionized the Apple cell phone industry with the release of the first generation iPhone, touting an improved multimedia and internet functionality with its innovative capacitive touchscreen. Not too long after, Google launched its Android operating system with the HTC Dream, which featured a slide-out keyboard, and this marked the two companies' ongoing rivalry, as Business Insider remarks. And these remarkable devices again leave much to be desired. And today we have every year coming out new technologies that claim to be better. TechCrunch website cites that Google Android leads the marketplace in the most phones sold, with iPhones coming in second. Phones like Samsung Galaxy S4 and iPhone 5s are just two of today's premier smartphones, with loads more out there, all running versions of Google Android OS with a few Windows Phone exceptions. All these new phones of today are truly high-end computing machines, and they will only continue to improve with better cameras, more reliable, faster mobile internet, and greater processing power. And so today I described some of the early cell phones and cell phone technologies. Second, I talked about how those devices evolved to make today's cell phones. And lastly, I talked about some of today's cell phones. Smartphones are an exciting part of our lives today, and as they continue to evolve, I can only imagine what the future holds.